This podcast episode is being sponsored by Blackbird Creative. At Blackbird Creative, they specialize in empowering female entrepreneurs and helping them make big waves in their industries. As a professional brand photographer, they work with ambitious women ready to take their businesses to new heights with polished, creative, and strategic brand photography. Together, they'll craft your visuals that will not only reflect your vision, but position your brand as a standout leader in your field. Ready to transform your business? Go create something extraordinary with Blackbird Creative. Blackbird Creative is also the official brand photographer for She Leads 2025, happening April 25th and 26th at the Oak Bay Beach Hotel in Victoria, British Columbia. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of TGIM. Thank goodness it's Monday. I'm your host, Nicole Crone. I have to tell you that I just recorded this entire episode and the little mute button was on my microphone here. And I don't know what kind of universal joke that is being played on me right now, but it just made me realize, okay, everything I want to say in this podcast, I can say, and I can say really quick. This is going to be like a zinger, super fast episode for you. Second time around, I want to talk about a TikTok that I saw that hit me in my body, stopped me in my tracks, full body shivers, and I want to share it with you. I want to teach this concept to you if you've not heard it yet. I didn't see the original creator. I saw a woman responding to a TikTok that she saw, and she was crying, saying like this TikTok moved her. And it was again, this is like, I'm playing telephone now. This person was saying that the original creator was like 80 something. She's on her deathbed, and she was talking about how she has wenned her life away. And when I heard that, I was like, I don't know what that means. I couldn't hear the word properly, or I wasn't understanding it. And then this woman started to describe how she heard this, and it made her stop in her own tracks and feel like, oh my gosh, I'm winning my life away right now too. And it's this idea that I'm sure many of you can relate to. I've been there before, and I'm sure most of you listening are doing this to yourself right now. And it's putting when in place of your dreams. So when I lose the weight, then I'll buy the clothes that make me feel good. When I make the money, then I'll hire the coaches and grow my business. When I have the time, I'll prioritize that wellness routine that I want. When the kids are grown up, then I will do XYZ. How many of you relate to this when you are putting something that you want, something that you desire, deserve, and you're putting it on this timeline of when? And this woman is saying that she got to her 80s and now her life is coming to an end, and her biggest regret is how many times she wenned things away. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I need to bring this to TGIM. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about the mindset flip here of telling yourself that you want something, but then saying, oh, it's what's realistic is. For example, we know pretty much everybody's money goal inside of Aligned CEO Method, how much they want to make in their business in the year or over the course of the next few years. And we'll hear people say, I want to make this much money, but what I think is realistic is. And realistic to me is like taking your standards and making them as low as you're comfortable with going. I want to make $300,000 this year, but if I make $60,000, then that's okay. Then guess what? You're going to make $60,000 because energetically, that's your set point. That's your standard. You're living life on this like realistic timeline, or thinking that you're being responsible. Oh, I won't hire the coaches. I won't invest in growing my business until I make more money. That's the responsible thing to do. But I want to ask you, is it responsible to postpone your joy? Is it responsible to get 5 years down the road and say, oh my gosh, I could have been further, faster. I could have had all my debt paid off. I could have had money set aside for my kids. I could have had money set aside for my future. I could have experienced so much more life if I went after my dreams now. But instead, you're like, no, the responsible thing to do is stay in the job that I hate and work the hours and be away from my family, or take myself away from my own routine that I want to do. And I just see this happening all too often. I think about somebody who joined us, and she said that she thought about it for years. And although we weren't having this conversation about wenning her life away, that's essentially what it was. She said that she finally joined us, and her biggest regret was that she didn't join us sooner. Once she got in and saw how accelerated her business became because of not just myself and Kayla, of course, coaching and mentoring from us and the resources that are available, but seeing what other women inside of Aligned CEO Method were doing, and everybody is such an open book. There's no gatekeeping in there. And she was like, oh my gosh, if I could have asked these questions, had these answers, had this support, had this insight, like you don't know what you don't know, right? She's, if I had have known all of this sooner, my business would be so much further along. And we were like, we know, don't want to say I told you. I think about how many people come to us and they say that this is their biggest regret. Once they get in, they get rolling a couple months inside of Aligned CEO Method, like truly 6, 8 weeks, 9 weeks max. People are seeing results way bigger, way more intentional, way more exciting than what they were doing or experiencing on their own for years and years. We'll have people who will come to us and they'll be like, I've barely been making any sales. I've been barely getting any clients, not many listens on their podcasts, not many like click-throughs on their emails. And then they come work with us. They ask the questions. They show up and they're honest and they're vulnerable. And they're like, listen, my email open rate sucks. How do people get more listens on their podcast? What can I do to fill up this event? They're honest about where they're feeling stuck or where they feel behind or what's slowing them down. And then everybody is so excited to jump in and support one another. People will say, hey, did you know that I toggled this one thing on and it made such a big difference in my business, or I turned this one thing off, or I used this resource from Aligned CEO Method? That there puts all of those wins like to the side. When you say to yourself, like, when I do this thing in my business, then I will hire help. I want to tell you that is literally never how it works. I think back to this one woman who said she waited for years to join us. And she said that her when was when the kids got older, when she wasn't paying for childcare, when she could put aside more money for coaching. And once she got in and saw how fast her business was making money, she's, oh my gosh, childcare wouldn't have been an issue. I could have had so much more money saved. I would have a bigger name and reputation for myself. And we were like, I know. And there's nothing we can do about the past now. So you're soaring, you're cruising. Let's keep going. And we don't want any of you to have this regret. We don't want any of you to feel like you want to have this business, you want to make it your full-time thing, you want to make really great money at it, you want to become well-known. That's going to happen when you decide to do it today, when you take action today, not when XYZ. You know, what if you flip that whole thing? When I join the coaching program, when I ask for help, when I invest in my business today, I'm going to go to the next level so much faster. Then all those other things will be able to occur. And I just think about how when Kayla and I first started our business, there was a lot of talk in the coaching industry about when you invest in coaches or masterminds and that sort of thing. And lots of people have different opinions on it. And we knew that it would be backwards thinking to say, okay, when our business makes X amount of dollars, then we'll hire the coach. No, you have to get outside of your comfort zone. We moved some money around and had to borrow a little bit of money to make that happen, to hire our first coach in the beginning. We learned so much from the other women inside of that program that it completely accelerated our business. And we continue to put ourselves outside of our comfort zone, knowing that the return of investment will always be there. And our clients always say the same thing. That's why people come back to us year after year, because the return of investment is so good. It's like getting inside of Aligned CEO Method and seeing how fast your business can take off, but your business will not take off if you keep telling yourself it will when you do these other things, because you're not doing them. So you have to put that excuse down. You have to stop postponing your life. You have to stop thinking like, what is realistic? You have to stop setting your standards to be so low. Like, it's not the vibe. We're over it. I want you to think of all of the whens that you're telling yourself right now. And if your life feels like one big waiting room, like it's a waiting room of, I'm not going to go shopping. I'm not going to meditate. I'm not going to fall in love. I'm not going to leave my husband. I'm not going to move the city. I'm not going to exit the 9 to 5. I'm not going to ask for a raise until when? Like, all of your dreams are just sitting in a waiting room, and you deserve more than that. And when I saw this woman talking about this TikTok, and she was crying, saying about how it was just like such a slap in the face reminder of we don't know when our last day is. And do you want to have your last moments arrive at any point and you have this regret of, oh, I thought I was being responsible. Nobody cares about responsible if you are suffering, miserable, not happy. Those things matter. Is that responsible? And again, I'm not saying go quit your job today and figure it all out. I am a risk taker and I know everybody is not wired like I am. I'm saying start to change the direction and the energy of the things that you want in your life now. Start to pull things out of the waiting room and make them happen now. Live a life of now. And it's not going to be comfortable and it's not going to be easy, but it is going to be necessary and it will work. One thing I know for sure is that when you step into the right energy of your future self, you be her now, the universe will always co-conspire to meet you, or God or higher consciousness or whatever your belief system is. You do not have to go at it alone. You will always be met with the path forward when you go first. When you say, okay, I'm getting out of my comfort zone, because you know what lives in the uncomfortable zone? Growth. You know what doesn't live in the growth zone? Comfort. You can't have them both. You can't be comfortable and grow. You can't grow and be comfortable. You've got to be willing to get uncomfortable to grow. So here's my invitation for you today. Identify just one of the ways that you've been winning your life away. Just one. And then I want you to ask yourself, what is, even if it's like scaling it down a little bit, what is a scaled down version of starting today? If you were to pull that desire out of the waiting room and say, I'm going to activate it today, I'm going to act on it today, what would you do? If it's when I have more money, I'll travel the world. Maybe today's version is taking a little day trip, going for a long car ride, going to a nearby town that you've never explored. Like, you can start small, but it's proving to yourself that this is what you really want. If it's when I lose the weight, then I'll buy the clothes. Maybe today you go out and buy yourself something that you love and feel really good in today. Regardless if you're going to lose the weight and it's not going to fit you in a couple weeks anyway, go out and purchase something that feels good on your body today. If it's when I have more money, then I'll hire help in my business. Perhaps today you start with a little bit, hire a little bit, outsource a little bit, have a coaching call with somebody. If you're not ready to join a year-long program, we do have VIP days available. If anybody's looking to purchase those, you can do them online or in person. So, you can do little things to test the waters, to get outside of your comfort zone, to pull those desires out of the waiting room. Because here is the absolute truth that I want to leave you with. The life you want begins one decision away from the life you have right now. That's it. You are one decision away from a completely different life, but it is up to you to make that decision and to act on it. It's not in 1 year. It's not one accomplishment. It is one decision. And the decision is to stop waiting. The decision to claim some piece of your own joy and your own desire today. There is this saying that I really love, and I think it's really powerful, that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. Whew, powerful. Especially a coach. I love that, because really powerful coaches ask really powerful questions. So instead of asking yourself, when can I do this thing? I want you to ask yourself, how can I bring elements of this into my life now? Not when can I, how can I do this now? Instead of asking yourself, when will I be ready? Like, when will I actually feel ready to do this? I want you to ask yourself, what would I do if I already knew I was ready? If you were ready, what would you do right now? What would make you ready? Instead of asking yourself, when will the timing be perfect to do this? Ask yourself, what can I do with the time I have right now? What can I do today, right now? This week, I want you to catch yourself every single time you say when, either out loud or in your head. I want you to catch it. I want you to catch it when other people say. You're going to probably start to notice this everywhere. You're turning on your RAS, your reticular activating system. We're turning it on for the whens. And I want you to challenge it. I want you to challenge yourself and then find one small way to collapse time. We've got lots of different podcasts and conversations around collapsing time. And I want you to bring your future desire into your reality today, because your someday is made up of all of your todays. How you live your day is how you live your life. And how you live today and tomorrow's today and the next day's today makes up your future. So you deserve to live fully in each and every single one of them. And it starts today listening to this episode. I would love to hear when you listen to this episode, can you send me a message over on Instagram, MyLine Purpose, and tell me what hit you with this? What have you realized you've been winning your life away with? Okay. I'm guilty of it. I've got a list of my own, and I would love to hear what yours is. I've thought a lot about how I've been trying to conceive and I want to get pregnant, and thinking about when we do this, then we will get pregnant, or when we get pregnant or and have a kid, then we will do this. And I have caught myself before, like putting things on hold based off of what if I get pregnant? What if then I am pregnant? And yeah, a lot is changing for me after hearing this concept, and I hope a lot changes for you. Okay. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you're not following us on Instagram, make sure that you do that. Kayla and I, when you hear this episode, will be in Orange County with our mastermind crew for the week. Come follow along. We'll take you along for the ride. Okay, have a good one.
This podcast episode is being sponsored by Mint. Meet the dynamic duo behind Mint Cleaning Products. What started as two moms meeting at a mom group and launching a local cleaning business quickly evolved into a mission-driven, multi-million-dollar brand. After experiencing health issues from toxic chemicals, they created Mint Cleaning, an eco-friendly, award-winning line of cleaning products that are as safe as they are effective. Today, Mint Cleaning is a staple in over 250 stores across Canada, thriving online and supported by a passionate community. With a flagship store on Vancouver Island, Robin and Monica are proving that clean living can be luxurious, stylish, and good for the planet. Known for their approachable, funny, and inspiring personalities, they're here to share their journey of resilience, risk-taking, and building a business that makes waves. You can shop Mint Cleaning with the link in our show notes. Mint Cleaning will be our keynote speakers at She Leads, happening April 25th and 26th at the Oak Bay Beach Hotel in Victoria, British Columbia. Tickets can be purchased in the show notes of this episode.